Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 19th chapter, text numbers 38 to 40. 38 and 40 doesn't have purport, so I'll read it by myself. 39 will chant together. Okay. Yat shrotavyam ato japyam yat kartavyam nirvipravo smartavyam vaja niyam va bruhi yadva viparyayam. Translation. Please let me know what a man should hear, chant, remember and worship, and also what he should not do. Please explain all this to me. Text number 39. Nunam bhagavato brahman griheshu grahamedinam na lakshyate hyavasthanam api godohanam kvachit. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charanarvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. O powerful Brahmana, it is said that you hardly stay in the houses of men long enough for a cow to be milked. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Saints and sages in the renounced order of life go to the houses of the householders at the time they milk the cows early in the morning and ask some quantity of milk for subsistence. A pound of milk, basically a pound, the unit, it's almost like half a liter, of milk fresh from the milk bag of a cow is sufficient to feed an adult with all vitamin values, and therefore saints and sages live only on milk. Even the poorest of the householders keep at least 10 cows, each delivering 12 to 20 quarts of milk. Quart is again a unit, which is almost like a liter. So, therefore, no one hesitates to spare a few pounds of milk for the mendicants. That means out of 20 liters, almost half liter. It is the duty of householders to maintain the saints and sages as they maintain their children. So a saint like Shukadeva Goswami would hardly stay at the house of a householder for more than 5 minutes in the morning. In other words, such saints are very rarely seen in the houses of householders, and Maharaj Parikshit therefore prayed to him to instruct him as soon as possible. The householders also should be intelligent enough to get some transcendental information from visiting sages. The householder should not foolishly ask a saint to deliver what is available in the market. That should be the reciprocal relation between the saints and the householders. So next verse is the last verse of this chapter. I'll read by myself. Suta uvacha evam avashita prishta sarajyash lakshnaya gira pratyabhashata dharmajno bhagavan badarayanihi. Translation. Sri Suta Goswami said, the king thus spoke and questioned the sage using sweet language. Then the great and powerful personality, the son of Vyasadeva, who knew the principles of religion, began his reply. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports of the first canto, 19th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Appearance of Shukadeva Goswami. So completed in 3 volumes on February 20, 1965, the Vyasa Puja of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and this is the end of first canto. Today what we read last 3 verses, these are the last 3 verses of not only this chapter, but also the last 3 verses of this first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So it is said that first 2 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam are compared to Lord's 2 lotus feet. And then it goes on like that, further, top, and then finally the Mukharavinda, the lotus face of the Lord, is compared to Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto. So we are left with 9 more cantos, and then 11th and 10th, 12th cantos are also available. But Prabhupada, has written half the way till 10th canto, and the summary description of 10th canto, Prabhupada is given us in Krishna book. So that is the Mukharavinda of the Lord. So it is very important that in these 3 verses, what we read just now of Srimad Bhagavatam, Parikshit Maharaj is asking the most essential question of life. So it's not only applicable to Parikshit Maharaj, but also applicable to each one of us. Not just each one of us, each and every human being, each and every living entity. It is such an important question. So what is that question? How did Parikshit Maharaj actually, arrived at this particular situation? Since we are concluding first canto today, and we read that how Prabhupada completed it on the Vyas Puja day of his Guru, Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur, as an offering. And then we see here, February 20, 1965, Prabhupada completed. And then this book, these 3 volumes of first canto, Prabhupada carries. When did Prabhupada start to America? Recently we celebrated the festival commemorating Srila Prabhupada's journey on voyage of Chaladuta. Compassion, because of that kind of compassion. So August 13th he starts and travels for around 35 plus days, and then he reaches Boston. So February to August, it's almost 6 months. He had to print this particular volume, and then he had to get ready to depart to the West. So Prabhupada goes to the West, United States of America, with these 3 volumes, and then the rest is a revolution. We know how Prabhupada expanded ISKCON temples all over the world, and so many books, letters, and other preaching activities of Srila Prabhupada. So this quickly we can summarize first canto, how it started. So basically Srimad Bhagavatam is compiled by Srila Vyasadeva, who is known as the literary incarnation of the Supreme Lord himself. Because this Herculean task of compiling such a great Vedic literature, Srimad Bhagavatam, is not possible by any ordinary person. So it has to be done by Lord himself, or someone like Srila Prabhupada, who is said, that he is an empowered incarnation. He has been empowered by the Supreme Lord to preach his glories. So that is why Vedavyas, he saw Kali Yuga was about to set, and then people had very short memory, they had very short lives, so they did not have time to go through all the Vedic scriptures. So he actually split the single Veda into 4 Vedas, Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, Atharva Veda, and then he compiled Upanishads, 108 Upanishads, and then different Puranas, 18 Puranas, Mahapuranas. But then he was still not satisfied. That's how Srimad Bhagavatam actually starts, that the sages of Naimisharanya, they were doing a very elaborate fire sacrifice, because Kali Yuga has already said, Krishna had already departed to the spiritual world. And then to safeguard, to wish very good auspiciousness for all the humanity, the sages of Naimisharanya had set on performing a very elaborate sacrifice. And in that question, in this particular situation, they wanted to know, and they choose Suta Goswami as their leader. And then the sages of Naimisharanya, headed by Shaunaka Rishi, he puts forth questions to Suta Goswami. The 6 questions, basically they put forth 6 questions, which forms the entire Bhagavatam as an answer to these 6 questions. So the first question was, what is the ultimate good for all the living beings? What is the ultimate good? Now since Kali Yuga has started, each yuga has got its own prescribed duties. So for this Kali Yuga, what is that particular thing if somebody does, that will ensure ultimate good, ultimate welfare of all living entities. So, and the next question was, what is the summary of all the Vedic scriptures? Because people don't have time to go through all the scriptures, they need summary and essence of all the Vedic scriptures. So for these 2 questions, Shukadeva Goswami later answers, Suta Goswami answers, it is Krishna Bhakti. So the most important thing, the most welfare activity that one can perform for himself as well as others is Krishna Bhakti. And the essence to know after going through all the Vedic literatures is also Krishna Bhakti, because Krishna also said in Bhagavad Gita, Vedaischa sarvair ahameva vedyaha. So by understanding, going through all the Vedic literatures, it is Krishna who is to be known. So for these 2 questions, Krishna Bhakti. And then third question they put, why Krishna incarnated? What was the purpose behind Krishna's incarnation? Why Krishna has to come here, Krishna has to go, why Krishna has to appear, disappearance? So they wanted to know different Leela Avataras, Purusha Avataras, Manvantara Avataras. So that was the third question. And then Yes, fourth questions were the detailed, different kinds of incarnation they wanted to know. And then fifth question was, where did Dharma take shelter? After Krishna went away to the spiritual world, to the spiritual abode, now Dharma and knowledge has taken shelter of whom? Which personality? So they say, for that the answer is Srimad Bhagavatam, they say. So it is compared to like a sun, Puranarko Dhunoditaha. Just like in the darkness, only a torchlight can help us. So if entire light is switched off in this room, nobody can see each other, nobody can see ourselves. So it's only because of knowledge in this dark age of Kali Yuga, only through the knowledge of Srimad Bhagavatam, one can lead his life happily in this material world as well as in the next. He can go back to the spiritual world. So that knowledge and the guidance and the dharma, the knowledge, everything is taken shelter in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam itself is Krishna's incarnation, one of the incarnations. And then, so that led them to the next question, that how this Bhagavatam was compiled, where it was compiled and under what circumstances it was compiled. So then they go on to describe, in the first canto we saw how, Vedavyas was compiling and still he was not happy. And then he prays to his guru, who is Narad Muni. And the Narad Muni comes and instructs Vyasadeva that, specifically you have not glorified Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. So if you do this, Yayatma Suprasadati, then actually you will be happy and others are also will be happy. So this is based on this instruction, Vedavyas decides to compile Srimad Bhagavatam, and then the rest is actually, how he starts narrating, Narada Muni, then Narada quotes his own life's example. By following this process of bhakti, by following the process of Bhagavata, he himself actually was the son of a maid servant in his previous life, and then just by serving the pure devotee Bhagavatas and following their instructions, in the next life, he achieved the status of becoming Narad Muni. So he gives his own example, he quotes his own example, and then that's how the conversation begins. And then, the Parikshit Maharaj, also, he was actually heir to the throne of the Pandavas. And then Yudhishthira Maharaj, after this battle of Kurukshetra, Mahabharata war, the Parikshit Maharaj was enthroned and he was ruling. And then we know how, because Kali's infiltration had already happened in this material world. So now Kali was waiting for an opportunity, and then that's how one day when Parikshit Maharaj went on a hunting excursion, he was actually feeling very tired, thirsty, hungry, and then he goes to the sage Shamika Rishi's ashram, where he was not treated well, he was not welcomed because sage was in deep trance in meditation. And then Parikshit Maharaj thought it as an insult, and then he puts a dead snake on the neck of the sage who was meditating, was not even aware of his external surroundings. And then when this information reaches the son of that particular sage, Shamika Rishi, that Shringi comes, and then actually what happens, he curses Parikshit Maharaj to die in 7 days. And then this led to the incidents of setting the foundation for speaking Srimad Bhagavatam. So that's how today we are reading these verses which are very extremely important. Why Parikshit Maharaj is putting these questions to Shukadeva Goswami. So and then Shukadeva Goswami appears on the scene, and because Parikshit Maharaj, although he was cursed, he did not lament. Yes, of course, he lamented to the extent that he committed offense towards the Brahmana, and then he was glad that he got punishment so that in future he don't have to suffer. And then he decides to fast until death. So for next 7 days, he sits on the banks of the Ganges, and that's how Lord arranges, because Shukadeva Goswami was a very, very great sage, son of Vyasadeva himself, and to whom this knowledge was given by his own father, Vyasadeva. And then when Shukadeva Goswami arrives there, all the other great sages, including Narad Muni, everywhere they were present. They stand up, and then they ask Shukadeva Goswami to answer Parikshit's questions. So Parikshit's previous question was, in the previous verse, that what is the duty of all the persons in this world? And specifically, what is the duty of a person who is about to die? So this was the very intelligent question, because everybody is going to die one day or the other. So what is the duty of a person who is about to die, and what is the duty of all the persons under all circumstances. So that was the previous question in the previous verse 37. And to which, yes, we'll have to wait for the answer, because entire Srimad Bhagavatam is answering these questions. But of course, the details are there. And in today's verse 38, what we are reading is, yes, Yat Shrotavyam Ato Japyam. So is more specifically is asking, what is the duty of a person who is about to die? More specifically, what he should hear, what he should chant. Yat Shrotavyam Yat Ato Japyam Yat Kartavyam Nirbi Prabhu. So what is the duty? What is the duty? What he must do? And Smartavyam Bhajaniyam Va. Smartavya means what he should remember, and what he should bhajaniyam, what he should chant, and what he should worship. And bruhi yadva viparyayam. Along with that, what he should not do. This is also important. So, in the 38th verse, Parikshit Maharaj is asking Shukdev Goswami, please let me know what a man should hear, chant, remember, and worship, and also what he should not do. Please explain all this to me. So actually, this brings us to the most important question as to how we should live in this world and how we should live from this world. How we should live in this world and how we should live from this world. So that is the actually essence of King Parikshit's question to Shukadeva Goswami. So it is, Parikshit Maharaj was a very intelligent person and a pure devotee of the Lord. Rajarshi, right from even before his birth, in the mother's womb itself, he had darshan of the Lord when Lord had appeared to protect him from the Brahmastra of Ashwatthama. So then Parikshit Maharaj was always, contemplating on this, how a Lord would be looking. Once again, he had the desire to see the Lord in person. So this constant meditation of Parikshit, he was looking for everyone, and examining. That's how his name Parikshit came. He was examining that whether is it the same person whom I saw in my mother's womb. This is what he was always examining. So that was a kind of meditation. So this is one of the activities of the process of Bhakti-Yoga. So bhajaniyam, actually what one should hear, what one should chant, what one should remember, what one should meditate. This is the essence of Bhakti Yoga. So just like, in today's, if you see, there are a lot of chess players. They are world champions, chess grandmasters, and they all actually have trained. Not that everyone were born genius. Few exceptions were there. But again, most of them actually, they were actually putting in lot of effort. They were putting effort to train their mind and body system. So they were practicing so much, they were putting in so much of hard work, effort. Not everybody would succeed, isn't it? So, but many of them who had that karma with them, and then they got right kind of coaching, guidance, only those few were very, very successful. So similarly, in spiritual life also, we should put in our systematic effort to train our mind-body system. Nothing comes for free here. But the difference in the spiritual aspect is, just like in the material world, if karma doesn't support a person, no matter how much effort he puts, no matter how much, best of the best coach, guide he gets, he may not be successful. But in the spiritual life, 100% spiritual success is guaranteed, because Shastras say, Prabhupada say, it is the training for the sleeping senses. Basically, the spirit soul is there, which is, it is said that Nitya Siddha Krishna Bhakti Sadhya Kabunai Shravanadi Shuddhe Chitte Karayodai. The spirit soul as it is part and parcel of Krishna, it is pure. But now because it is covered, it is in association, it is programmed in a different way. So that is why it is not able to awaken the spiritual senses. So just like, chess masters, it is said that they memorize so many games. Each step, suppose let's say from the beginning of a game till end, there are 100 steps. Each step they memorize. Not that 1 or 2 games, like that hundreds of games, thousands of games they memorize. That's how they rise, on top of the world. They become grand masters. So grand masters. So similarly, we have to become in spiritual life grand servants. That is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said. Gopi Bhartu Padakamalayar Dasa Dasa Dasano Dasa. The more we practice spirituality, the more we become servant of the servant of the servant of the servant, then we achieve all perfection. So, and it's not that they are remembering each and every step. They are trained to come across certain pattern, and that when they come across that pattern, they know what this leads after 10 steps. So similarly, our mind and body is trained in this material world because of the 3 modes of material nature and the influence of Kali, that the pattern is formed. How do you know what is that pattern? The general pattern is Krishna Bahirmukha Jeev Bhoga Vanchakare. So the standard pattern is anything that takes me away from Krishna. So that is what actually in today's verse also he is asking this question. Apart from hearing, chanting, remembering and worshipping the Lord, the most important thing is also that also please tell me what one should not do. What one should not do? One should not do is this, anything that takes me away from Krishna. Because anything that takes me away from Krishna, the more I practice, that will also form a pattern. It is called neuroplasticity. It is called these neurons. They form different kinds of circuits. And then moment that pattern we come across, we actually deviate from Krishna. That is why Vedic scriptures also prescribe not that only we should do certain things, we should not do certain things also, we should avoid. That is why Prabhupada has given us the 4 regulative principles. What are those 4 regulative principles? Avoid meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, no illicit sex. And also what one should do is chanting. So there are vidhi and nishedas. So that is why it is said, smartavya satatam Vishnu, vismartavya na jatuchit, sarve vidhi nishedasyur etoyor eva kinkaraha. But if somehow we can cultivate, practice, train our mind and body in such a way that constantly we try to hear, constantly we try to chant, constantly we try to remember Krishna, constantly try to worship Krishna, and if we try avoiding certain things which takes me away from Krishna, then we can very easily train our mind-body system. And the process is not like material training that we just train our mind-body system. The holy name, the word itself is very, very special, so potent, so powerful that it directly goes and awakens our sleeping senses. So the effective is so the efficacy, the efficiency of this process is very, very high, very, very great. It only depends on our sincerity and seriousness. So the best example is Ajamila. So Ajamila, although he was initially trained because of certain things which he was supposed to avoid, nishedas, that he committed, and then because of which he had to deviate from the path of bhakti, but still whatever he did, those credits were always with him. So when the right opportune moment came, and Krishna also arranged in such a way that he could keep his youngest son's name as Narayana. And then at the time of death came, because he was so attached to his son, he called out to his child Narayana, but because the holy name itself is so powerful, it acted. And then immediately Narayana sends Vishnu Dutas, and then that's how Ajamila was saved, and then he got a second chance. So that is why it is recommended that one should hear always about Krishna's activities, Krishna's holy name, and Krishna's leelas, and anything that is connected to Krishna and Krishna's pure devotees' activities. So that is why Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita, Shrunu, Shrunu, whole Bhagavad Gita is actually asking Arjuna multiple times, please hear from me, Shrunu, Shrunu. So specifically, 7.1, Bhagavad Gita 7.1, what does it say? Maya sakta manaf partha, yogam yunjan madashrayaha, asamshayam samagramam, yatha jnasyasi tach shrunu. So just by hearing about Krishna, just by hearing about Krishna's activities, pastimes, we will actually awaken So hearing is so important. Shravanam is most important, Prabhupada says. It is the first item in the process of bhakti, and which is the most important item also. And then chanting. So what one should chant? So Bhagavad Gita also multiple times Krishna has given this reference that Satatam Kirtayanto Mam Yatantascha Dridhavrataha. Kirtana, performing, chanting Krishna's holy name, Krishna's pastimes. By doing that, what happens? We train our yantra. This is like mind-body system. We keep training our yantra so that it becomes a favorable device, vehicle for the soul to be carried to the spiritual world. So best example is Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur himself. He chanted every day almost 22 hours. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also said, Kirtaniya Sadahari. So every moment, if we can chant, then nothing like it. But as much as possible, we should endeavor, we should put our effort to chant Krishna's holy name, Krishna's pastimes. And then what one should remember. So Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna says that 8.5, Anta kalecha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram. So whatever we remember at the time of death, that state of consciousness we achieve in the next life. It's a continual journey of the soul. So similarly, Krishna also says, Yam yam api smaran bhavam tejatyante kalevaram. So it's most important that we cultivate this throughout our life to remember something, just like Ajamila, whichever he was most attached to in his life. At the time of death, naturally he called out. It was not a conscious effort, subconsciously it came. So similarly, all our life, if we remember Krishna, naturally at the time of death, we will remember Krishna. So that is why it is most important. Just like Prahlad Maharaj is the best example for remembering Krishna always, because his own father, Hiranyakashipu, was putting him in such great difficulties. So constantly he was meditating on the Lord, he was remembering Krishna, and then Lord protected him always. And then worship, yes. So in this age also, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu specifically instructed that we should worship Krishna's holy name. Krishna's different holy names are there, varieties of holy names. And specifically, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave us this Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So, very nicely, if we chant this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it's as good as worshipping the Supreme Lord. So, of course, we can worship Lord in the form of deity. Srimad Bhagavatam is another incarnation, multiple incarnation as that. But the most easiest process, the most effective, which everybody can practice in this age is worshipping His holy name. So that was actually the translation. And then, so Parikshit's this question actually summarizes entire bhakti process, entire process of Krishna consciousness. But then he adds another deep point in the next verse. In verse 39, Parikshit says that, he is, Prabhupada is explaining the purport. Saints and sages in the renounced order of life go to the houses of the householders at the time they milk the cows early in the morning and ask some quantity of milk for subsistence. So what does this mean? So this means sages, and this is depicting Vedic culture, how in the morning, in the olden days, today's situation, not many have cows individually in their homes. They go and buy milk, and then, that's how milk is available. So this indicates that grahasthas, the householders, they were supposed to maintain the saints and sages, brahmacharis, sannyasis, because and at the same time, it's not that brahmacharis and sannyasis, they were overburdening a certain house. So that is why hardly for a few minutes they used to ask for something, and then if they are not provided, they will go to the next house. It is said madhukari. And then just like honeybee collects, from different flowers and it stores. So similarly, it is not that if person X doesn't give, he cannot maintain his life, then someone else will give. But what is the main purpose of going, the saints and sages going to householders' houses? To remind them of their spiritual life also. Because householders generally they have to take care, they have responsibility of maintaining their families, dependents. They get engrossed so much in this material world that they forget. There is a tendency to forget spiritual duties also side by side. So when saints and sages go to the householder's house, as a matter of fact, asking for something in help, subsistence, in turn, actually, Prabhupada says, the householders also should be intelligent enough not to ask anything material, but ask something that is spiritual. So that is actually the real advantage, that real gift what they can receive from the saintly persons. Just like Vidura, because he was on a pilgrimage, he was insulted by Duryodhana, and then he didn't take part in the battle of Kurukshetra. And then he went on a pilgrimage, then he comes back, he sees that Dhritarashtra, the very same person who was trying to kill and harm Pandavas, now after winning the war, Pandavas were ruling the kingdom, Yudhishthira Maharaj, and then he was getting maintained by the very same people whom he tried to kill so many times. So then Vidura comes and actually chastises. So this is the duty of a saint and sage. He comes not to stay with Dhritarashtra, but Vidura comes to enlighten, to remind Dhritarashtra of his next future spiritual activities. So with these harsh words, actually Vidura speaks, and then Dhritarashtra also gets awakened. Then finally, along with his wife Gandhari, goes to the forest and then achieves spiritual perfection. So similarly, it is said that Prabhupada quotes that when Prabhupada used to go approach different people, they also used to ask some benediction from Prabhupada. Prabhupada, please cure this, cure that. So Prabhupada saying in the today's purport also that one should, the householder should not foolishly ask a saint to deliver what is available in the market. Just like somebody has got leg pain, he can go to a doctor. He don't have to ask saint or sage to cure his leg. So what is the most intelligent thing? So Prabhupada is saying the householders also should be intelligent enough to get some transcendental information from visiting sages, because that is not easily available in the market. That which is not easily available, spiritual subject matters, that should be their interest to ask from them. So similarly, Uddhava's visit to Vrindavan is also very, very glorious. So Uddhava visited Vrindavan because Krishna made this plan so that Uddhava actually also realizes the position of the residents of Vrindavan, Vrajavasis, the emotions of the gopis, Nanda Maharaj, Yashodamai. So Uddhava was a very learned friend of Krishna, who was disciple of Brahaspati himself, who is the teacher of the Devatas. And then, but beyond this material knowledge or beyond intelligence, there is something much, much higher in the spiritual realm. That is actually the attachment to the Supreme Lord. So this attachment, when Uddhava visited actually Vrindavan, he could personally see it firsthand. So it is also a very inspiring for us why we should visit Vrindavan, what should be our consciousness. Very nicely Prabhupada explains in that Krishna book that Uddhava actually he goes and he appreciates the attachment, the emotions that were exhibited by Yashodamai, Nanda Maharaj and all the other gopis. And then Prabhupada writes there that actually because gopis were also in need of some message from Krishna. Krishna actually goes to Mathura from Vrindavan saying that after a short while he'll come back. But actually Krishna physically never went back after that to Vrindavan. So gopis, the residents of Vrindavan, they were all in very, very horrible situation, painful condition. They were actually always crying and thinking, remembering Krishna. So actually Uddhava, Prabhupada says, he played the role of a guru. And then Krishna's message he takes and he reads out to the gopis, and then actually gopis and the other residents felt very happy. They could actually, Prabhupada writes, they were about to die and by the condition they were going through, but then Uddhava played the role of a guru. And then they treated Uddhava also on par with Krishna. They served, they respected, so that's how the guru's role is so important that just, in this material world, in the blazing fire of material existence. We may be going through so much of painful conditions and so many sufferings, so many difficulties, but just by following the instructions of Guru, the instructions that are given in Srimad Bhagavatam, the advice given by Shukadeva Goswami, and Parikshit Maharaj is representing intelligently, he is putting forth questions, and he is actually putting forth not only for himself but for all the humanity. So by following these instructions, what happens? We can also actually save ourselves. We will feel it very, very relieved. So, and then next verse, Shukadeva Goswami begins his reply. It is said, the great son of Vyasa, knowing dharma, replied with sweet words. So this is very, very instructive. So it is specifically said he started replying very sweetly, means very happily. Because he was very, very pleased with the kind of questions put forth by Parikshit Maharaj, which was relevant for all the times to come and for everybody. So his questions were very, very glorious. So then, Shukadeva Goswami becomes very pleased. So that is what Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita, Tadviddi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshyanti te jnanam janinas tattvadarshina. So with humility, with very nice consciousness, he is actually putting forth questions. So similarly, when we read Srila Prabhupada's books, when we hear Srila Prabhupada's teachings, with this right frame of mind, right attitude, right consciousness, then all our answers actually get, all our questions get answered. So we will get the right directions. So it is said that, so that is the sum and substance. So what one should hear, Shrotavyam, what one should Japyam, what one should chant, what one should remember, and what one should worship, and at the same time avoid certain things. So just like Gajendra was saved just by offering prayers to the Supreme Lord, because it's not that because he was in the form of a huge animal, elephant, and then Gajendra, because he was attacked by crocodile, and Gajendra could not rescue himself on his own. What he could do is, he just offered prayers with the choicest words. So just like Adi Shankaracharya also offers these prayers, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudamate, Samprapte Sannihiti Kale, Nahi Nahi Rakshati Dukrin Karane. So it is said that simply, glorifying anything, glorifying or offering best words to something which is not Krishna does not save. But the same thing, if it is used in Krishna's service, glorifying Krishna, it can be saved. So there was once a scholar, and he was always trying to exhibit his learnings, his scholarship. And then one day he was passing by that one particular village alone. And then the local villagers said that, please avoid that particular path. He was crossing and going to another village. And then the path which he was planning to tread was a very deep forest. And these local villagers, they advised him, there is a tiger, very dangerous, ferocious animal, and you should not tread that path. So it will be very dangerous. Avoid that, and we'll give alternate path. Go to another village and from there. So, but this scholar wanted shortcuts. Quickly he wanted to this thing. And more than that, he was scholarly, that he was not treating these villagers as very intelligent people. And then he decided to go on with his own plan, through that forest. So his argument was, they said that tiger, he started analyzing. Tiger means, it's called Uyagara. So different Sanskrit words which describe tiger. So Sanskrit is such a language that based on context, there are so many multiple words, multiple meanings. So this guy started analyzing that tiger is very strong, very powerful, yes, and then it is actually a source of, so much of energy and stamina it depicts. And then like this, he started analyzing. And then while analyzing like this, he forgot that he was already deep into the forest. Then immediately next moment, what happens? He hears roar. Tiger approaches him and pounces on him. And then when tiger catches him, about to devour him, about to eat him, then he gets this meaning. Meaning of what? Tiger also means that one who subsists on someone else's flesh. Then he is in a very sad situation that why I didn't get this meaning before. He was getting all the other meanings, but this meaning he was actually not getting. So, Matta Smritir Jnana Apo Anancha. Actually, Paramatma's guidance, through Paramatma's guidance only, we get, directions, forgetfulness, memory, everything. But if we are not sincere, then actually it will not help. The scholarly words, the so-called learnings of this material world won't help us. But if our desire is to engage in Krishna's service, then actually Krishna gives us right direction. So that is how it is very important that we train our consciousness in the process of Bhakti Yoga, which is sure to give us all success in the end. Okay, and another very nice instance, how powerful chanting is. In Chaitanya Charitamrita also we come across this pastime, when the local administrator there, Kazi, so he was trying to create, because a lot of complaints were coming to Kazi, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates, they were performing Sankirtan all throughout the day and night. So then some local scholars, they went and complained to Kazi. And then Kazi actually wanted to take some measures, so that he can reduce this Sankirtan in Navadvip, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and his associates, what they were creating. And then this Kazi sends his assistant, some constable, some police constable, to actually disturb in a location where Sankirtan was happening. So these people broke some mridanga and then created ruckus, the situation there. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and associates, actually they were continuing their Sankirtan. And then these people come back to Kazi and they report that, my dear Kazi, I don't know what kind of devotees or people these are. Continuously they were chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And then we tried stopping them. We told them not to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. But then no matter how much we tried persuading them, they never stopped chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Then Kazi was saying, that's okay, they were chanting, but why are you always chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram, Hare Hare. Then, so actually Kazi, in the process, he chanted so much that because he was not offending, just like Mayavadis, they were the greatest offenders to the Supreme Lord. That's why the word Krishna does not manifest on their tongue, is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said. But then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave Kazi also mercy, because this chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra was done by Kazi, and then he personally meets, and then what happens? He actually blesses Kazi, and then Kazi also assures that not only me, but all my generations in the future, they will ensure that the Sankirtan movement will not be disturbed. So, that is the kind of potency of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. By chanting more and more, Krishna's blessings also come, and apart from that, our body also gets trained. Our yantra gets trained also very nicely, and which helps us. So by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, all these processes, what specifically 4 or 5 things what Parikshit Maharaj is asking from Shukdev Goswami, that specifically what one should remember, what one should worship, what one should hear and chant. Everything is accomplished by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra and attentively hearing it. So that is the potency. So further, yes, sometimes because we become so busy in our lives that we forget to sharpen our axe. Sometimes we think that if I become too busy, that shows that my efficiency is very high. No, sometimes we have to take a break and then contemplate on these things. And just like there is a saying that suppose if we are trying to achieve something by X units of putting our endeavor. It is more smarter, it is much more smarter that we efficiently engage in a particular activity with more efficiency. So, because we all have very, very short lives. So that was the intention of Parikshit Maharaj also. We do not have time. He had specifically 7 days with him, but we don't know how many days or how many weeks, how many seconds, how many minutes we are left with us. So he actually wanted to give us very, very shortcut, the essence of everything. So Srimad Bhagavatam itself is the essence of all the Vedic scriptures, and then it is also said that Srimad Bhagavad Gita, just 700 shlokas, is the essence of all Vedas, Gita Saram and all the Upanishads, but still that itself is also very difficult for us. So that is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and he just gave one particular thing, one particular essence, that is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So, Srila Prabhupada also gave us this particular Hare Krishna Mahamantra, gave this Hare Krishna Mahamantra and stressed so much that, we should take this up very, very seriously. So we should chant on a daily basis. It's not that once in a while, whenever I have time, I'll do. This should become our priority, and we have to squeeze in, even little bit of time is available. We should actually try to make use of the available time and chant as much as possible. So that is why Prabhupada also, like in today's purport, he said, sages and saintly persons visit for a very short time, hardly few seconds, few minutes. So similarly, if you see, Prabhupada also, he is always traveling different universes, he is busy. If you see, just 11 years actually, he was available physically after he started ISKCON. So much, so many instructions he gave, and so many guidance, so many letters he gave, so many directions he gave. So it is very, very important for us that we try to understand the personality of Srila Prabhupada as much as possible, and by trying to understand the Leelas, what Prabhupada practically demonstrated, it is a great learning for all of us. So we can go through one or two such pastimes. Prabhupada said that this is a recollection by one of the devotee, 1986, which this pastime happened in 1976. So Srila Prabhupada went on to explain the cooperation is the essence of the movement. So because as the movement grows big, more and more devotees come together, and then the most important essential ingredient also is one of cooperation amongst devotees. So Prabhupada was stressing even in the beginning days. So Prabhupada quoted in the Ohe Vaishnava Thakura, it is said, Ekaki Amar Nahi Paya Bala. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually himself, he was a Supreme Lord. He could, inundate this whole world with Krishna consciousness. But because, he appeared as a devotee, he demonstrated how a devotee's life should be. So he said that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself actually is saying that, we should cooperate amongst ourselves. And then Krishna will help us. So then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Bahubir militva kirtayeti iti sankirtana. Bahu means many and combined together. So we should preach this Krishna consciousness, we should practice this Krishna consciousness and propagate this Krishna consciousness in cooperation with other devotees. So then Prabhupada concludes, it's very, very nice analogy. Just like there is a garland, and yes, we have in our ISKCON organization devotees from different backgrounds. We have people from America, we have people from Africa, we have people from India and Australia. So it is like a combination of many flowers, and then just like Prabhupada is comparing, in a garland there are different kinds of colorful flowers. It looks very, very beautiful. So then Prabhupada says, show me one organization in the world where devotees with such various backgrounds are living together and without trying to pursue their individual and individual or different upbringing conflicts, but putting their efforts to propagate this Sankirtan movement. So that is what Krishna consciousness, actually Prabhupada is appreciating, that this is actually real United Nations, and where devotees are united with one common goal of serving Krishna. So then Prabhupada concludes that is why I have come here to make all hippies into happies. So this is the real concern of a pure devotee Acharya like Srila Prabhupada. So whole purpose is to give to humanity that real search for happiness, because everybody is looking for happiness, nobody wants to be unhappy. So how to search happiness, how to get happiness in connection with Krishna? That is by performing Sankirtan Yajna, by becoming part of Krishna consciousness movement, and by helping Prabhupada achieve that, automatically we are actually helping ourselves. So by being yes, so that is the same consciousness with which Parikshit Maharaj is putting forth these questions, that although he has 7 days time, but he is actually already assured of liberation. It's not that he is asking for himself alone, but because this set a foundation to speak Bhagavatam, and he wanted to actually ensure all the future generations get this benefit, he's putting forth these questions. And so that's how Prabhupada actually concludes this Srimad Bhagavatam first canto. And in the second canto, we will see more details how Lord Brahma focuses on creation, what is his consciousness, conversation with Narada, and then different topics that is discussed, 10 topics in Srimad Bhagavatam, like that throughout the entire cantos. So we'll stop here. If anyone has any questions or comments, for 2-3 minutes we can discuss. Okay. Thank you. We'll stop here. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Vishwa Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari.